Om. 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 Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tat Padam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Twameva Mata Chapita Twameva Twameva Bandhuscha Sakha Twameva Twameva Vedya Dravinam Twameva Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So where are we in our text?
Chapter 13, number 9.
So we're on the field and the knower of the field. So, pardon me?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I didn't hear what you said.
Is the field and the knower of the field, right?
Yes, yes. And the whole point of this chapter is to introduce this fundamental Vedanta Jnana Yoga practice, which is discrimination between the self and the not self, the subject and all the objects, between the real and the unreal, between the kshetra, the field, and the kshetranya, the knower of the field. So as Shankara says, Brahma Satyam Jagat Nityeti Rupo Vinishchayaha Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka Samudharitaha. Brahman alone is real. Jagat, the phenomenal world, is mithya, unreal, meaning it is not the self. The firm conviction in the intellect that this is true is known as discrimination between the real and the unreal. And so he's gone into a description of the field. To summarize it, anything perceived in the world of objects, anything in the energy world, prana, anything in the mental world, feelings, judgments, any thoughts, including the ego, and even ignorance itself, he calls the field the knowable. All right, going on. Will you help us out, Deepa?
Yeah. इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्य मनहङ्कार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्. Indifference to the objects of the senses and also absence of egoism, perception of or the reflection upon evils in birth, death, old age, sickness, and pain.
So
This is
here
like a
are
half
more,
sentence.
pardon
Sorry.
me?
This is only a half sentence, I guess.
Okay, finish the next verse, please.
Uh, Asaktira Asaktira nabhishvanga putradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittatva mishtaništopapattishu. Non-attachment, non-identification of self with son, wife, home, and the rest, and constant even-mindedness on the attainment of the desirable and the undesirable.
So these are auspicious aspects of mind. Listen carefully. While they are of value to cultivate, they are still not self. Now, why should we do it then? Why should we even be concerned with the not self? This is going back to what you and I were talking about before class this evening. Remember that both bondage and liberation occur to the mind. It's my mind that suffers. Liberation happens to the mind. The self is ever free. What is my bondage? My bondage is nothing more than the deeply rooted conviction I'm bound. The fruit of spiritual ignorance is jiva bhavana. I think I'm a person. As soon as that arises, we have many terms for it: ahankara, ahankriti, jiva bhavana. It is an inherently impoverished mental state. I'm not enough. There's not enough. There's something wrong with me or something wrong with the world. And then the result of that is kartavya, which literally means obligatory action. It means jonesing. I'll be happy when, it'll be better if I have to struggle towards a goal in order to be happy. That is samsara. That is the karma chakra, the circle of suffering, of action. It is the Jagat Jala, the web of the world, has many, many names. What is moksha? What is liberation? It is the deeply rooted conviction in the Vijnana Maya Kosha, in the subtle intellect, based on direct experience, not that I'm an enlightened person. Aham Brahmasmi, that I'm Brahman, and that nothing in the phenomenal world touches me. I'm always safe. It's always going to be okay. Well, does that mean we don't strive hard for justice in the world or work hard to actualize our dreams? Of course, you can do that, but sport with it. Tejo Mayananda used to say, the foolish person doesn't take life seriously. The intelligent person takes life seriously, but the wise person seriously doesn't take life seriously. Do your best. Let God have the rest. Maintaining this samadrishta, this equality of mind in heat and cold, meaning that one was the pairs of opposites of things that happen to the body. Sukham dukham cha, the suffering, the pleasure and suffering, the reactions of the mind to conducive and non-conducive events. Siddha asiddha cha, in success and failure, honor and dishonor in the intellect. Stand back as the witness. So we develop these auspicious samskaras to attain chitta shuddhi, purity of mind, so that I can inquire into the self effectively. If the mind is all caught up in its extroversion, then it's hard for me to remember who I am. All right, going on.
Mayi chananya yogena bhaktiravyabicharini vivikta desha sevitva maratirjana samsadi. Unswerving devotion unto me by the yoga of non-separation, resorting to solitary places, distaste for the society of men.
So this gives us more advanced practices. Unswerving devotion to non-separation from me. Earlier forms of practice, I worship the God, be it Krishna or Durga or Shiva, I and thou. Nothing wrong with that. But as Kena Upanishad thunders, chapter 2, mantra 3, it is not that which you worship here. It is your very self. So the yogi has to go through a period of keeping all the energy introverted, tuning up the mind, letting go of our concern for the world, keeping the mind yoked to the self. So first was unswerving devotion to me, non-separation. What was the next idea?
Resorting to solitary places.
This does not mean you can't go to work or have a partner or go out with your friends. It means you have to have some time in your life, in your daily regimen, where you are by yourself, engaged in personal sadhana. If all you do is come to Gita class or any other thing or watch YouTube videos and you don't spend time in solitude, in meditation, you will only get what's called paroksha jnana, indirect knowledge, which is a little mental satisfaction to the scholar. It's not transformative in the end. Our study must inspire us to practice. Vedantic sadhana, the classic paradigm. Shravana, mananam, nididhyasana. Shravana, what's Shravana mean? Hearing. Yes. So in our modern day, we can hear with our eyes, read a book, hear the teaching from the teacher. Mananam, what's mananam mean? Think about it. Long, serious reflection. So we're convinced rationally of the value of this way of life. Nididhyasana, long and continuous meditation. It's essential. Now, there are great Mahatmas like Ramana Maharshi. His whole sadhana took about, what, a half an hour or so when he was 16. But even he, going off to the temple in Tiruvannamalai, was in silence, living in the crypt underneath the temple for 11 years, absorbing the mind in the cell. And what's the next idea? There's one more, isn't there?
Yeah. Distaste for the society of men.
So this doesn't mean that we avoid social interaction, but we have to give up FOMO, fear of missing out, this compulsion that I've got to be out doing things with other people, getting that fix from social interaction. The yogi needs to learn to be content with their own company. Now, this does not rationalize people who have social phobias. Those are things we have to work through. It's not an aversion, not really. But you're not compelled to be going out, always with the gang and doing stuff. I like what Buddha said. Take the path of moderation. That's all of the pieces of that verse, right?
Yes.
Next verse.
Adhyatma-jnana-nityatvam tattva-jnanartha-darshanam etaj-jnanamiti prokta magyanam yadathonyatha. Constancy in self-knowledge, perception of the end of true knowledge. This is declared to be knowledge, and what is opposed to it is ignorance.
Yes. So what is knowledge? What is that to be acquired? We talked about both bondage and liberation occurring through the mind. This is the knowledge, the aparoksha jnanam, the direct experience. So first idea, constancy in self-knowledge, that was the first one.
Constancy in
So
self-knowledge.
it doesn't mean, oh, I had an experience on a meditation retreat 10 years ago. Oh, I went to see Guru Shmuru and I saw the self, but I lost it. No, it is stita prajna, steady wisdom. Constancy in self-knowledge. So Adi Shankara articulates this beautifully in Vivekachudamani. It's one of my favorite verses, Shloka 267. He says, quote, even after realization of the truth. We've had some deep insights. There exists a strong impression that one is the doer and the enjoyer, karta, which is the cause for rebirth. This doesn't mean I'm going to come back in another lifetime. It means I re-identify with the ego. This needs to be conscientiously rooted out through steady and continuous identification with the self. So in our deepest meditation, I'm not the body, I'm not the prana, I'm not any of the feelings, I'm not any of the thoughts. I can thin the mind enough so there's space between the thoughts. Who is it who sees the thoughts and the space between the thoughts? Chidakasha, the space of pure awareness. That's who I am. Then when I come out of my meditation seat, when ego gets triggered through the day, oh, I see you, drop it. I'm the witness. Over and over and over again. Then he finishes the shloka. It is the annihilation of the vasanas here and now. That's considered liberation by the wise. What is it that makes me get re-identified? Vasana. Remember, a vasana has two powers. Avarana Shakti, Vikshepa Shakti cha. Veiling power, the non-apprehension of myself as Brahman. Then the subsequent misapprehension. I think I'm a person. I think I'm the body. Two things to keep in mind all day long. I can't think a real thought. None of my thoughts about anything are real. Let it go. Don't be attached. And most importantly, no personal sense of self is real. If I think I'm the worst piece of dog poop in the world, it's not real. If I think I'm doing really well, that's not real either. Koham, who am I? Satchidananda Rupam. Aham evaham avyayaha. My nature is pure existence, consciousness, and bliss absolute. Or to start with, no sorrow ever touches me. I am that is immutable. Next idea,
Jim, I have a question. This is Amina.
please.
Hello. So my question is, eventually, does the vasana stop arising, or is it just that the identification with the vasana stops
That's
arising?
a very good question. The scriptures will talk about roasted vasanas. They get weakened. So, from an experiential standpoint, all of us know the difference between a preference and an insistence. If my mind is telling me I must have this or I'll never have that, and this is serious business, then that's an insistence. Preference, I'd rather have chutney Oh, there's no chutney, no big deal. But even more importantly, as I said earlier, the first power of Vipassana is non-apprehension of my essential nature. So if I think I'm a person, then I have vasana happening. Don't worry so much about is this insistent or so preference. Go back to whom is this desire occurring? To me. Who am I? Oh, that's right. Aham Brahmasmi. And remember, go back to that direct experience. Then do as you will.
So I guess a follow-up would be like, say there's a vasana of fear of something, right? And obviously the practice is to watch it and it goes away, it comes back, again and again. Eventually, is it that the fear is still there? It's just you're watching it automatically, or does the fear
The
end?
mark of the person of steady wisdom is they are fearless.
Okay, got it. Okay, so then I
Now,
guess it doesn't come.
Does that mean that the body won't have an instinctual response? I can only tell you if I'm walking down the street and I hear screeching tires and there's a bang, the adrenaline rush goes through my body. And then I laugh at it. Yeah, it's such a weird physiological experience. It's the body's instinctual response. But that's not what usually afflicts us. It's the loss of a loved one. You're a mommy. You deeply rooted instinctual desire, concern for your baby. Or your husband. Or those of us who may have fear about the state of the world. It's all in God's hands. It's going to be okay. The opposite of fear is not courage. Courage is simply fear that said its prayers and we act anyway. The opposite of fear is faith. Is that helpful?
Yes, that's helpful. Thank you, Jim.
And Deepa, what's the next idea?
Perception of the end of true knowledge.
Yes. So many people think the spiritual life is a journey, there's no destination. Yoga would say no. There is a time when I know who I am and all the striving has ceased. All the struggle is gone. Paramashanti. Is that all the pieces of that verse?
No, just the final phrase which says, "This is declared to be knowledge, and what is opposed to it is ignorance."
So this is what is to be known. It's not, can I quote Gita chapter and verse? It's not that I've memorized. I remember I was in India talking to this one woman and she says, "Oh, I've memorized chapter 15 of Gita." I said, "Oh, that's very good. Do you know what it means?" No. Better she had memorized it, but somehow had been able to internalize the deep import of it. Knowledge is not about acquiring siddhis. It's these items listed in this verse, which are not new. They're not new. All right, next verse.
Yeyam yattat pravakshami yajkyatva mashnute anadimat param brahma nasattanna sasud nasattanna duchyate. I will declare that which has to be known, knowing which one attains to immortality, the beginningless supreme Brahman, called neither being nor non-being.
So this is what is to be known, the supreme Brahman. We can't say that it's being that it is, like a table or a chair or a goat or a horse. We can't say it is shunya, void, empty, non-being. It's not a thing to be known. It's not an experience to be had. Yet it is not unknowable. Now he's going to declare it. Let's see what he says. Going on.
Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshishiro mukham sarvata shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati. With hands and feet everywhere, with eyes, heads, and mouths everywhere, with ears everywhere, he exists in the world, enveloping all.
Oh, he's a monster. Thousands of hands and eyes and feet. It's even worse than a centipede. Is that what he means? No. What is the conscious being? That is the life principle operating through every being in creation. So bringing it down to a direct experience. There's 4 of us here in my living room. You Zoomies can do this for yourself too. So all 4 of us see the room from a slightly different viewpoint. What we see is all different. All 4 of us have different bodies. I know my aches and pains and what feels good and what doesn't feel good. You know your body with all its sensations, different than mine. You know your feelings. I know mine. You know your thoughts, memories, dreams, fears, hopes. I know mine. But the conscious being that illumines all of that is just pure awareness. The self in me is not like the self in you. The self in me is the self in you. that one self has hands, feet, speech, ideas, thoughts, feelings, in infinite variety as it illumines the equipment of every being. There's only one conscious sentient being here. That is Krishna, or Shiva, or Brahman, or God, however you want to name him. The eternal subject of every living being. So whomever you meet, our bodies are different, our feelings are different, our thoughts are different, our egos are different. But the conscious being looking out of those eyes is always the same. It is the infinite. As I begin to relate to that as I move through the world, rather than focusing on behavior or form or ideas or memories. The universe, as it were, changes for me. No longer a scary place. Any thoughts on this?
I have a
Next question.
question, Jim.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Question is, how do you relate that to an actual situation, like physical pain? How does that relate? I'm trying to apply it and not understanding that.
Oh, I get it. I get it. There's pain and there's suffering. They're two different things. The pain is the direct sensory experience. It's another one of God's creations. But you and I have aversion to pain. And what we want to do is get away from it rather than psychologically leaning into it with non-resistance. Now, way back in the early 1970s, I took the last EST training that Werner Erhard did, that he did it himself here in the Bay Area. And one of the things he used to do is he would ask someone in the audience, does anyone in the audience have a headache? Of course, somebody would have a headache. He'd have them come up on the stage and sit on the stool, and he'd say, now, where is it in your head? Well, it's on the right side. He says, well, how big is it? Well, it's about the size of a 50-cent piece. Well, what color is it? Well, it's kind of brown and green. And he'd keep bringing the person's attentive faculty to the pain itself. And as he kept having them notice it and describe it and be present to it, it was really weird. Within 10 minutes, the pain was gone. Now, doesn't always happen that way. I have to confess I'm not an adept at that practice, but I do it. But what a yogi wants to be able to do is not resist these sensations in the body. So those of us who've been on Vipassana retreats, I think you have, haven't you, Vinayak?
Yes.
So what did they suggest that you do if your body starts to hurt on the retreat?
Watch it.
And eventually what happens?
Stops hurting.
Yeah, it may take time. Now, if we have, a broken leg, or collapsed vertebrae or something like that, we do what we need to do to take care of it. But again, the more we resist sensation and try to get away from it, the basic rule, mental rule is this. Any psychic experience, by psychic here, I mean a mental phenomenon that is fully experienced, tends to dissipate. Any psychic phenomenon that is resisted or denied tends to persist. I think, this is my personal opinion, this is the great value of psychotherapy. What does the psychotherapist do? Gets us to fully experience that which we've been avoiding and denying for many of us most of our lives. I don't know if this is useful. This is the
know.
theory of it. I can't say that I've been 100% practitioner of it.
Thank you. Okay, I'll talk to you one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how yoga would approach it. The other thing, way back in the old-timey days, I was very familiar with the whole South of Market scene where people would get into S&M and a particular physical experience that would make you or I, people would embrace because it would send them into ecstasy. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, any other thoughts or questions?
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
So if the self in you is the same as the self in me, and likewise for everything, how come when the self is realized for a person, like if a person comes to realize that truth, how come that person doesn't know literally everything and like what everyone knows? They don't experience what everybody experiences. They only experience their own body, mind, intellect.
Because the mind is always finite, even for the Mahatma. That's the same kind of logic. If I realize the self, then do I personally have billions and billions of bodies? Yeah. The equipment is always finite. For the woman or man of steady wisdom, the mind is expanded to an enormous degree because there's not so much clutter in the way. So the human mind is capable of knowing things. What I would say is useful to describe omniscience, all-knowing. That if you're completely renounced, where you're willing for it to be this way or willing for it to be that way, then intuitively you will be given all the information you need at any moment in life.
Right. So it's because the creation is finite, not that the soul is finite, or the
The self is not finite.
yeah, it's
The self is infinite. But the mind is finite. It can be made a lot bigger than most people think. But even then, it's still finite. Is that helpful?
that is, yeah.
All right, any other questions on this? Next verse.
Sarvendriya gunabhasam Sarvendriya vivarjitam Asaktam sarvabhrichaiva Nirgunam guna bhoktricha. Shining by the functions of all the senses, yet without the senses, unattached, yet supporting all, devoid of qualities, yet their experiencer.
So the self in me, it's like light that strikes the subtle intellect, which is like a prism. Then that light of awareness functioning through the subtle intellect refracts into the triple factor, the individual knower, the individual knowing, and the things known. Just like if you have sunlight striking a prism, the spectrum is nothing but the pure white sunlight appearing as the spectrum. So also the self in me is experienced in the ordinary waking state as the witness of everything. I'm the witness of all material phenomena. I'm the witness of the body. I'm the witness of the prana. I'm the witness of the feelings. I'm the witness of the thoughts. I'm the witness of the rising and the falling, the thickening and thinning of ego. I'm even the witness of ignorance. But I am a sangaha. That's what the script, the shloka said. I am unattached, unjoined. It never touches me. Now, the practices as we move through our day, when it seems like I am being assaulted in some way through egoism, stop. See whether or not you're still that untouched, unattached witness of it all. The practice is called Sakshi Bhava. The attitude, the practice of being the witness. In truth, you don't become a witness. What you do is you start to notice that you've always been and are the witness, the eternal witness. I doesn't undergo change. It just seems like it. Shankara, we would have this image in Amaboda Monday night. If you take crystal and you put it on a blue piece of velvet and then move it over to a red piece of velvet and then over to a yellow piece of velvet, it looks like the crystal is red, blue, or yellow. But oh no, the crystal is actually colorless. It just appears to take on the color of the cloth you put it on. So also myself is always Chilakasha, the space of pure awareness. But in the subtle intellect, I attribute to it, out of inadvertence, out of ignorance, the qualities of the bodies, the equipment. Most specifically, the body. That's the bija vasana, the root attachment of it all. And Vedantic practice involves seeing what is. It's not just vain repetition. I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. That's a useless waste of speech. You got to pay attention. Is there a subject-object relationship? If that be so, I'm not what I'm looking at. I'm the one doing the looking. Can you see the water glass? You all see the water glass?
Yeah.
You're not a water glass. Now, we talked about this in prior classes on this chapter. If we make the self some idea, it's the transmigrating soul, it's a little gray ball with wings, or in a more subtle thing, I think, oh, it's kind of hovering around someplace. Up there is Paramatman, the self. Then these scriptures do nothing to free us. Who sees the glass? I do. That's yourself. You do not get another self. That is it. But I just have all sorts of erroneous ideas about it. How do I get rid of the erroneous ideas about myself? I have to clearly investigate my real self, meaning my very experience of I. So many people waste years in Vedantic study. Jim, this is what I think about the self. What do you think about the self? Like it's something external to me. That does us no good. It will not free us. This is an incredibly important point. There are not a bunch of selves. There's only one. There are bunches of different ideas about the self. My inner child. That's the child's ideas of self. Clan, family, gender, orientation, culture. These are all just ideas. What's your very experience of I? Investigate it with a quiet mind. See what you find. Going back to what Joanna was talking about, even when the body is in terrible distress and pain, I can at least acknowledge I am the knower of the pain. I am not the pain. I'm really angry that I have so much pain. I am the knower of the anger. I am not the anger. I'm frustrated and overwhelmed. I know these feelings. Doesn't mean they're going to go away, but just to acknowledge it's not me. Who am I? And that still point, which is eternal. The pain comes in time, I promise you. The pain will go. You'll at least drop dead. All the ideas go. All the feelings go. They are anitya, not eternal. This is the practice that's implied in this chapter. Any questions about it?
Is there a formal way to go around it, like Sakshi Bhavana, like, or is it just whatever comes up when you're meditating? You go,
You
that's
just, yes, if I can be aware of it, that's not self. Let it go. Don't get attached to it. Don't get identified with it. Now, here's an interesting point. A lot of times we talk about being attached or identified with the good stuff. Oh, I'm attached to sex. I'm attached to my anger or something like that. We can be identified with our suffering. I am a depressed person. I am more miserable than the next. I have it so bad. This may be your habit mind state, but it's not true about you. You are nirguna, without any quality, nirupa, without any form. Achintya, unthinkable. Vijnana ganam, a homogeneous mass of consciousness. Don't believe me. Look. All right, next verse.
बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तद्विज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत्. Without and within all beings, the unmoving and also the moving, because of its subtlety unknowable, and near and far away, is that.
So let's parse it. First idea again.
Without and within all beings.
Yes. So it feels like the self is inside me. But what I would invite you to do is when you have a dream, are you inside the dream body? Are you in the dream or is the dream in you? Well, it feels like I'm in the dream. But in fact, you are inside and outside in the dream. The whole movie is in you. The self is like space. There's cup space, there's room space. Watch the space inside the water glass. Magic trick. Did I move space? No. Your equipment is in the self, pervaded by the self. You're not stuck at some point of awareness inside your head. Next idea.
The unmoving and also the moving.
So we call it Nirguna Brahman, the self as the eternal subject. Acharam. Charcharati means to move or roam about. I go nowhere. The whole world passes in front of me. But again, just like in the dream state, I am the unmoving witness of the dream. I'm there in my bed and I don't move. But I'm also all the moving parts in the dream. So also, Saguna Brahman. All the moving stuff is nothing but consciousness appearing as name and form. Next idea.
Because of its subtlety unknowable.
Yes. So I can know phenomena, even the smallest little stuff. I was watching one YouTube that at CERN, I think it's called, the particle accelerator in Switzerland. They're getting electrons and particles up to close to the speed of light, and then they smash them together. And these tiny subatomic particles are so small, but they're still knowable. You will never see yourself as an object, yet you are not unknown. How do you know you are you? You do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you know you are. How do you know it? I don't know. I just know it. That's correct. You are Swayambhu, self-evident. Swayamjyoti, self-effulgent, self-luminous, meaning the self knows itself. Now listen carefully. This is the great cosmic joke. Everybody already has that. Nobody lacks the experience of the self. What's the difference between the Mahatma and the fool? In their minds. The self in them is the same. The fool thinks he's the body. The Mahatma knows she is that ground of being. Next idea.
And near and far away is that.
So closer than hand or foot, closer than your breath, closer than your innermost thoughts, closer than your deepest secrets. It's your very experience of I. And yet, what is it? Voyager 2, I think, is the one that's gone further than any other human item. Well, let's use the James Webb telescope. It's looking out into space and back in time, something like 14.3 billion years to the edge of the observable universe. All of that is in consciousness. Next idea.
That's it.
Okay, next one.
Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiv cha sthitam bhuta bhartru cha tajgeyam Grasishnu Prabha Vishnu cha, and undivided. Yet he exists as if divided in beings. That is to be known as the supporter of beings. He devours and he generates.
Yes. So again, this becomes easy to understand if we go to the dream state. I don't make up this analogy, by the way. This comes directly from the Gaudapada Karika on the Mandukya Upanishad. So you are the god of your dream individually. Going to bed and to sleep and dreaming is mini Maya. So when you go to sleep, what happens? Avarana Shakti, the non-apprehension of yourself is the waker. Is that coming from outside? Yeah. Mini Maya. Then your mind projects the dream. Vikshepa Shakti. And the nature of the dream is the triputi, the triple factor. You have a dream body, which is a locus of perception and the home of the dream ego, i.e., see the people, places, things, and conditions in the dream outside. And I have thoughts and feelings inside. But all of it is my one undivided mind. This is no different. It comes about like a dream. Now listen carefully. Your puny little ego isn't dreaming all this. Your puny little ego is a character in God's dream. But the ground of being, the support is the same. It is consciousness. So the eternal subject is Brahman. And all of the objects, Saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities and characteristics. We have all various metaphors. All the waves are nothing but the ocean appearing as the waves. I used to go sailing a lot with my dad and my brother when we were young. And I can remember if I was lying on the deck of the sailboat, I was looking at the ocean, I'd see a wave rise, then it would disappear. Another wave would rise. And it would look like they were separate lumps of water. But if I sat up and looked over the side of the boat, no, it was the ocean itself waving. They were not separate. This phenomenal world is not separate from consciousness. The metaphor falls down because the surface of the ocean actually undergoes a change. I can walk into the bathroom and look at my face in the mirror. I see my face in the mirror. If Trevor comes in and stands next to me, then there's two faces in the mirror. Has the mirror undergone any change? Did it have to get fatter to get two faces in it? He's a handsome young man. I'm an ugly old guy. Does the mirror have to undergo a change to be able to make Trevor handsome? The mirror just reflects what it does. It is sthita, still. But the images appear in it. This metaphor falls down because there has to be external objects in order to create the reflection. In consciousness, We have to combine those two metaphors. A phenomenal world rises and falls in consciousness, but consciousness itself, kutastha, still, unchanging, unmoving, acharam, as the last verse said. Kutastha, as Gita will quote. Yet the whole universe appears. How? Sankalpena, by means of imagination, just like the images in the dream state. Seen, vivid, not real. Now, the more we meditate and thin the mind, I tell you, the world will thin out. This is not just philosophy. It's also the direct experience of the Mahatmas. But if hearing the shloka does nothing more than get you to doubt the solidness of the material world, that's a good start. Shravana, Mananam, Nididhyasana. You hear this truth, the scripture, you think about it. Now, sit. Long and continuous meditation. Not trying to see something, not trying to get something, endeavoring to empty, to unknow the mind. Okay, we'll end here tonight. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Oh, that's up.